Most people know Google's name, but few understand how Sergey Brin quietly built one of history's greatest personal fortunes. Every second, billions of searches travel through invisible systems that quietly generate astonishing wealth without selling traditional products. His fortune didn't stop with Google. Strategic investments multiplied billions, while new technologies reshaped industries far beyond internet search. How did one brilliant idea become a fortune worth billions? Stay with us, because the answer is far more surprising than you think. Long before billions of dollars and global success, Sergey Brin was simply a curious child fascinated by numbers, patterns, and solving difficult problems. That curiosity would eventually change the internet forever. Sergey was born in the Soviet Union, where opportunities for academic freedom were limited. His parents, both talented mathematicians, believed education was the key to a better future. Determined to give their son greater opportunities, they made the life-changing decision to leave everything behind and immigrate to the United States. America offered something priceless. It gave Sergey the freedom to explore ideas, ask difficult questions, and pursue knowledge without limits. From an early age, mathematics became his favorite subject. It taught him to recognize hidden patterns and approach complex problems with logic and creativity. As computers became more powerful, Sergey realized they could do far more than perform calculations. They could organize information, solve real-world challenges, and transform the way people access knowledge. That realization sparked a lifelong passion for computer science. His outstanding academic performance quickly earned the respect of teachers and researchers. With every achievement, Sergey moved one step closer to an opportunity that would define his future. The technology revolution was accelerating, and young innovators were beginning to reshape the digital world with bold new ideas. That journey eventually led him to Stanford University, one of the world's leading centers for computer science and innovation. There, an unexpected meeting with another brilliant student named Larry Page would inspire a research project that grew into Google, forever changing the internet and creating one of the greatest technology success stories in history. In 1995, Stanford University became the birthplace of an idea that would transform the internet forever. Sergey Brin was known for his brilliant mathematical mind and endless curiosity. Larry Page was fascinated by a different question: how every web page on the growing World Wide Web connected through links. They challenged each other's ideas constantly. Those debates didn't hold them back. They pushed both men toward a breakthrough that would change the way the world searched for information. At the time, internet search was slow, frustrating, and often unreliable. Most search engines relied on simple keyword matching, forcing people to sift through endless pages of irrelevant results. Brin and Page believed there was a smarter solution. Instead of counting words, they studied the links between websites. Their insight was revolutionary. A web page linked by many trusted sites was probably more valuable than one with repeated keywords. Using advanced mathematics, they created an algorithm that ranked pages by importance. The results were faster, more accurate, and dramatically better than existing search engines. The first version of Google wasn't built in a sleek office. It ran on inexpensive computers connected by tangled cables inside Stanford. Night after night, they refined the software, improving it with every test. People quickly noticed the difference. Students recommended Google to friends, and its reputation spread rapidly beyond the university. As more users arrived, the project outgrew its homemade servers. They had groundbreaking technology, but building a real company required funding. That changed when an early investor recognized Google's potential and backed the founders with the money they needed. Google officially became a company with one clear mission: to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Search traffic exploded as millions discovered a faster, cleaner, and more reliable way to explore the web. What started as a graduate research project was becoming the foundation of the modern internet. And this was only the beginning. The next breakthrough would turn billions of searches into billions of dollars. Google offered its search engine completely free, yet it was quietly building one of the most profitable business models the world had ever seen. In the early days of the internet, online advertising was often annoying and ineffective. Websites filled their pages with random banners that interrupted the user experience and rarely showed people what they actually wanted. Google changed everything. Instead of displaying random ads, it introduced advertising based on search intent. If someone searched for a new laptop, they saw laptop ads. If they searched for a hotel, they saw travel offers. The ads were relevant, useful, and far more likely to lead to a purchase. Businesses quickly recognized the opportunity. They weren't paying to interrupt people, they were reaching customers who were already looking for exactly what they offered. As more people used Google, more businesses wanted to advertise. That advertising generated more revenue, allowing Google to improve its technology, expand its infrastructure, and attract even more users. The cycle fueled incredible growth. Behind every search, enormous data centers worked around the clock, processing billions of requests and delivering answers in fractions of a second. Every search also helped Google refine its algorithms, making future results even more accurate and creating an advantage that competitors struggled to match. Billions of small advertising payments added up to extraordinary revenue. Unlike traditional businesses, Google could serve millions of additional users without dramatically increasing its costs, making the company incredibly profitable as it grew. Within a few years, Google became an essential part of everyday life. Students, businesses, researchers, and families relied on it to access information almost instantly. As Google's value soared, Sergey Brin's wealth grew with it, not because of a massive salary, but because he owned a significant share of the company he helped create. Investors no longer viewed Google as just another technology startup. It had become critical infrastructure for the digital age. Less than a decade after two Stanford graduate students began an ambitious research project, Google was preparing for its biggest milestone yet. Its public offering would captivate Wall Street, reshape the technology industry, and transform Sergey Brin into one of the wealthiest entrepreneurs in the world. August 2004 marked one of the most important milestones in Google's history. The company entered financial history with one of the most anticipated initial public offerings the technology industry had ever seen. For the first time, investors around the world could purchase ownership shares in Google's rapidly growing business. While the world celebrated Google's success, Sergey Brin viewed the IPO differently. To him, it wasn't the finish line, it was the beginning of a much larger vision. Google had already transformed the way people searched for information, but Sergey believed the company's greatest achievements still lay ahead. Strong investor demand quickly pushed Google's market value higher. As the company's valuation increased, the value of Sergey Brin's ownership grew alongside it. His fortune wasn't built from a massive salary or yearly bonuses. Like many successful technology founders, most of his wealth existed in company shares that appreciated as Google continued expanding. Every new user made Google's ecosystem stronger. Billions of searches every day generated enormous advertising revenue, creating one of the most profitable business models in modern history. Each successful product strengthened Google's position even further, rewarding long-term shareholders and increasing the company's global influence. Despite becoming one of the wealthiest people in the world, Sergey rarely pursued fame or extravagant luxury. His passion was innovation. He preferred investing his time in ambitious scientific research, breakthrough technologies, and solving complex problems rather than living a celebrity lifestyle. Google also embraced bold experimentation. The company invested in projects that often required years of research before producing meaningful results. Sergey believed true innovation demanded patience, long-term thinking, and the courage to pursue ideas that many people considered impossible. By the end of the decade, it was clear that Google had become much more than a search engine. The company was preparing for an even bigger transformation. That evolution would eventually lead to the creation of Alphabet, allowing Google to expand into entirely new industries while continuing to build extraordinary long-term value for both its users and shareholders. By 2015, Google had grown far beyond a search engine. Its expanding collection of products made a major corporate restructuring both logical and necessary. To support its ambitious future, Google created a new parent company called Alphabet. Alphabet allowed each business to operate with greater independence while remaining connected under one powerful organization. For Sergey Brin, this structure created the freedom to pursue bold technologies without limiting every decision to short-term profits or quarterly expectations. Instead of focusing only on today's products, Alphabet invested heavily in technologies that could shape entirely new industries. Self-driving vehicles became one of its most ambitious projects, requiring years of research before any commercial success could be expected. Artificial intelligence also evolved from experimental research into one of the company's most valuable long-term advantages. As Alphabet expanded, investors gained greater confidence in the company's future. Search remained enormously profitable, but growing businesses in cloud computing, mapping, email, mobile software, and artificial intelligence created new opportunities for long-term growth. Every successful product strengthened Alphabet's ecosystem and increased the value of the company as a whole. Despite his extraordinary wealth, Sergey Brin remained focused on innovation rather than publicity. He preferred working behind the scenes, supporting engineers and researchers, solving some of the world's most difficult technological challenges. His goal was not simply to build successful companies, but to create technologies capable of improving billions of lives. Patient investors benefited as Alphabet consistently reinvested profits into future breakthroughs instead of chasing quick returns. Outside Google's core business, Sergey also supported ambitious projects in healthcare, aviation, and scientific research. For Sergey Brin, wealth became more than a financial achievement. It became a resource for funding bold ideas that could transform the future. And while Google made him one of the richest people in the world, his greatest ambition was always to help shape what comes next for humanity. By this point, Sergey Brin had already achieved extraordinary wealth, yet his focus was no longer on becoming richer. Instead, he turned his attention toward technologies that could shape humanity's future for decades to come. Rather than protecting his fortune, Sergey chose to support ambitious ideas capable of transforming entire industries. Artificial intelligence quickly evolved from experimental research into one of the most important technologies of the 21st century. As this new era began, Sergey returned to help advance AI research during another major technological revolution. Powerful computing systems were solving problems once considered impossible. From medicine and engineering to scientific discovery and education, artificial intelligence was opening opportunities across countless fields. Sergey believed these breakthroughs would have a lasting impact on billions of people around the world. At the same time, he continued diversifying his investments. Instead of relying on a single technology or business, he supported multiple innovations with long-term potential. His philosophy remained simple. Great fortunes are rarely built through quick decisions. They grow through patience, ownership, and decades of consistent execution. Although Sergey remained one of the world's richest people, he continued avoiding the spotlight. A growing portion of his wealth supported scientific research, healthcare, education, and projects designed to improve lives for future generations. For him, funding innovation often created a greater legacy than simply accumulating more wealth. Even while exploring new ventures, most of Sergey Brin's fortune remained tied to Alphabet. As the company expanded its leadership in artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and digital services, investor confidence continued driving its long-term value higher. Billions of people relied on Alphabet's products every day, making the company one of the most influential technology businesses in history. But just how much is Sergey Brin worth today? And what lessons can entrepreneurs and investors learn from one of the greatest technology success stories ever created? That's exactly what we'll explore next. Today, Sergey Brin consistently ranks among the wealthiest people in the world. Yet despite his extraordinary fortune, he has always maintained a remarkably private public life. Unlike many billionaires, he rarely seeks attention, choosing instead to focus on innovation and the future of technology. Most of Sergey's wealth remains tied to Alphabet, the company he helped build. Every day, billions of people use Alphabet's products, from Google Search and YouTube to Gmail, Maps, Android, and cloud services. As these businesses continue growing, so does the value of his ownership. His fortune doesn't come from a massive salary. Instead, it comes from owning shares in one of the world's most valuable technology companies. When Alphabet's stock price rises, Sergey Brin's net worth increases automatically, even without selling a single share. Market declines may reduce that value on paper, but his ownership in the business remains unchanged. This long-term mindset has always defined his approach to wealth. Rather than chasing short-term gains, Sergey believes lasting success comes from building businesses that continue creating value year after year. Ownership, patience, and disciplined decision-making have generated far greater wealth than any executive paycheck ever could. Alphabet also benefits from a diversified business model. Revenue comes from advertising, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, subscriptions, and many other growing technologies. That diversity gives the company resilience as markets and consumer needs continue evolving. But Sergey Brin's greatest achievement was never simply becoming a billionaire. His true success came from creating products that transformed how billions of people access information, communicate, learn, and solve problems every single day. His journey proves that extraordinary wealth is often the result of solving meaningful problems at an unprecedented scale. And that may be the most valuable lesson of Sergey Brin's remarkable story. After everything we've explored, one truth becomes clear. Sergey Brin never built his fortune by chasing money. Instead, he focused on solving one of the world's biggest problems. He wanted to organize information and make it instantly accessible to everyone. When billions of people benefit from a solution every day, extraordinary value naturally follows. That simple idea became the foundation of Google, and eventually one of the greatest business success stories in history. Another important lesson is the power of ownership. Sergey didn't become one of the world's richest people because of a huge salary. He became wealthy because he owned a significant share of a company that continued growing for decades. As Google expanded, the value of that ownership grew with it. His success also proves that great fortunes are rarely created overnight. They are built through patience, disciplined execution, and a willingness to think years into the future. While many people chased quick rewards, Sergey invested in ideas capable of creating lasting value for generations. Even after achieving extraordinary wealth, his curiosity never disappeared. He continued supporting scientific research, artificial intelligence, and technologies that could improve millions of lives. For Sergey, innovation was never a destination. Every breakthrough became the beginning of the next challenge. His journey from an immigrant child to one of the world's most influential innovators reminds us that money is often the result of creating meaningful value, not the goal itself. Sergey Brin's greatest achievement wasn't simply becoming a billionaire. It was building technology that transformed how billions of people learn, communicate, and explore the world. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.